She's alive. Alive!
So we're going to say from the start, first 10, 15 minutes or so, spoilers. Because we're going to talk about the movies we watched this week. So yeah, zap on about 10, 15 minutes, you should be fine. Sinners.
Wow.
Finally got to see that.
Loved that.
That was awesome. I don't know if do you know, the funny thing about it was, about halfway through the movie, I forgot I was watching a horror movie.
Yes.
I
It felt
thought
like I was watching an Oscar blockbuster.
Like a gangster movie.
Yeah.
That's what that's what it felt like for the first hour of the movie. And then shit kicks off. You know?
Yeah.
I'll
But
be
it
honest,
flew. It didn't drag out or anything like that. No.
But the problem for me was, right, because I'm a gangster movie fan, I started to think to myself, no, I'm never going to see the gangster side of this. I enjoyed the horror side of it, yes, but I was getting so into the gangster story that I wanted to see all this play out, which they're name dropping Al Capone. They're fucking,
they had been working with Capone.
They had fucked people over in Chicago. I was like, when are the Chicago people coming? And then it was like, oh yeah, this is a vampire movie. Chicago people aren't coming.
Shit.
The Irish people are coming. We are taking back over the vampire fucking narrative. The Romanians are being pushed to the side and the Irish are taking it back.
Well, we kind of started it, didn't we?
Yeah, it's all ours.
Exactly.
Halloween, vampires, demons, all that shit. That's all ours. All belongs to us. See, you'd be lost without the Irish. It's good. It's out on digital
next week.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday coming. And there's supposed to be 20 minutes of extra footage.
I have to watch it again. So
we're going to have to watch it again.
It will be watched again, definitely.
It's getting great reviews everywhere, except for your brother who hates it.
He didn't like it.
Which I don't get. He had to be having a bad day when he went to see it. I read his review on Letterboxd. It's not great.
No, he really didn't like it.
Cutting.
He said he wasn't able to tell the difference between the two Michael B. Jordans.
I could tell the difference. One was really mean and the other one was actually nice and playful.
Yeah, that's the guy that got turned.
And you could tell the difference. And
and you should look at their hats. I mean, their hats kind of gave the game away, didn't it?
No, all I needed to do was hear him talking.
I know, yeah.
The one with the skull on his face is one of them, and was Stack. And Smoke then was the one that got turned into a vampire, yeah?
I think so. I'm bad with names, but I was okay with differentiating them in my head.
It's a fun movie. It's great. And that Irish music scene in the middle is
just spot on.
Made me proud to be Irish.
Made me want to go to a sing song.
Oh, it looked like it was going to be a wild party, man. I was like, let's do this. But even so much so that we watched it, and I was like, I got to take a bathroom break. When Dalton came back in, I was like,
we got to watch that again. We watched it twice, that scene. Yeah, I loved that.
So yeah, check that one out. That's fucking awesome.
Unreal.
I don't have a whole pile more to say about that. Yeah, I mean, I got a little caught off guard by the music scene in the middle where they started bringing in all the modern elements and all the past elements.
Yeah.
But then, like I said to you, I was like, it's really cool when you do think of that scene. That music is that one thing that kind of connects the past and the present, or the past and the future into the present, because you know the roots of the music you're playing comes from the past, because you have to take from that music to evolve it into this, and you know the music you're playing right now will evolve and be sampled and be used to make future music. So it was like this fucking music is timeless kind of idea. And then you're kind of zooming around and they're showing, like, you know, rappers and DJs and fucking break dancers. But then they're going back showing African dancers and African singers, you know, old African kind of tribal shit.
Yeah.
And it was really, really cool to watch. But it did take me out of it for a split second. Like, where I was like, wow.
It did, yeah. No, I would agree with that.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every part of it. It was awesome.
I'd say one of the best this year that we'll get this year.
I don't know. See, I feel like horror is just
so
fucking kicking off lately. You know, everything is good. There's so little bad coming out. And like I said before, even the bad is good to people like us.
That's true.
You know, but like these blockbusters are coming out. They're hitting the cinema and they're getting big. You see that with Terrifier. You see that with Scream. You see that. I still know what you did last summer is coming, or I know what you did last summer is coming back. And it seems like horror is kind of having a bit of a moment in
definitely
Hollywood and in the movies, and I'm enjoying it.
I'm not complaining.
No, it suits us down to the fucking ground. And then the one we watched last night, Final Destination. Now, we binged our way through all the Final Destination.
We did, and like you said,
because I had only seen 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Same. the thing about it, Final Destination is fun, but it's repetitive. It's not a binging movie because it's the same movie over and over and over and over.
But what I will say is it did feel like that for the first 5 because we watched those in the space of a week.
That's what I was going to say.
5.
No, I felt like 5 had a little bit of an extra kick. That when they added the whole thing of, if you kill somebody, you get their years.
Maybe it's because we watched them pretty much consecutively.
But that's why 5 stood out to me.
I don't know. I think 6 kind of was the differentiating one for me.
1 and 2 are brilliant. Do you know? And it was because it was still fresh. I think the worst by far is 3. That's the one with the roller coaster, yeah? And the ending is the
X-rays.
Jumps. No, just kind of like jumps to the fucking train scene.
Oh,
like 1 minute they're there,
yeah.
next minute we're in the train. It's like, what the fuck happened there?
Because they just went forward in time. There was a few months
but
past.
It was so
but they did that at the end of the first one as well.
But there was no reason for resolution before they jumped to this scene. Like,
yeah.
You know? Did she think she killed somebody by accident or something, or kind of which would be a very similar twist to what happened in the new one?
Did they think that they saved the sister because the sister was supposed to be sitting behind her on the roller coaster, but they didn't realize, and then they saved the sister then from the fireworks.
But that just means you intervened and the loop continues and comes back around to get you again later.
And that's why they all went in the end of that one.
But it just felt like it happened really quickly. It was just like, this is... Now, admittedly, I wasn't paying full attention to the movie. I was editing.
I was paying attention to the movie.
So I was only kind of glancing up and down while I was working away. So maybe I just missed a few bits, but it just felt like the weakest one. Mm-hmm. And then Ford's the NASCAR one, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
And it was fine. Right. It was just another run through of the same fucking thing. Someone gets a premonition, he stops it, that comes and gets them all. Mm-hmm. That's just the way they go. But yeah, definitely. I think like if I was to say, I would say maybe I think 6 might be my favorite.
I loved 6. Absolutely, yeah, and better than 1. The first one.
I enjoy. 1 is obviously the one that kicked it all off, and it's awesome. And at the time, it was awesome.
Different, and it was.
But it wasn't that different.
It was though. Really I mean, like you get it. You do. It was a bit different.
Tiny element to the whole
but it was different though. Like, as in, like you're getting kind of a different story. You're getting it 50 years after the fact instead of a few weeks after the fact. But, like they're coming for the whole family. We've already established that people can try and avoid it. Like in the second one, what's her name? Claire, is it? When she stays in a padded room. So she's keeping herself safe, which keeps the next person safe. So we kind of knew that was in play anyway. Yeah, but what I'm saying that it's different in that these people were never supposed to be in an accident. They were just never supposed to be born at all.
Exactly, but that was always. But I think that was always in play in all of them because that's obvious. If he's not supposed to fucking survive, then his children aren't supposed to survive. If she's not supposed to, then her children shouldn't be here. That made sense to me 100%. I mean,
no, I'm not saying it didn't make sense to me. I'm saying that it was different in that fact that it was 50 years later and it's a whole family that didn't see it coming because they didn't have that shock of being in an accident.
I know that, but what I'm saying is it wasn't a groundbreaking thing for me because it wasn't groundbreaking.
No, I would agree with that.
That makes
but what I mean is that it was different enough to pique my interest more than the other movies because there was so much of the same.
It piqued my interest because the deaths were fun. I mean, that was one of the things like where you watch horror where there's these extreme deaths and you might get grossed out by, or you might flinch, you might close your eyes. Literally every time someone died in this movie, I jumped up with the reaction of, oh shit, that was awesome. Do you know, it was more, this is fucking cool as shit. Yeah. Like that fucking MRI machine scene was not what I was expecting. You were telling me about it and you were like, this is going to stop people from wanting to go into the MRI machine.
I didn't say that. I said people online were saying it.
And I was like, okay, so someone's going to go into the MRI machine. It's going to be similar to the tanning bed fucking shit with fucking the second one, third one?
Third one.
Second one.
Third one.
Second one.
They're on the roller coaster. They're at the fun fair. Same. Third one.
Yes, third one.
Thank you.
You're right. Yeah. Third one. Because the second one is the one with the logs and all that. Yeah. But that's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And then when I saw what happened, I was like, this is fucking amazing. I mean, like, it's funny because we were able to predict what was coming to some level. Like, I turned around there and I was like, hope he doesn't have a dick piercing. Ooh, there it goes. And it was awesome. It was fun. And even you calling how the ending was going to come, you were like, well, you kind of called it accident. You were like, well, the easiest way to kill yourself and come back is to go into water, drown and be brought back to life. But we found out that doesn't work.
It doesn't. You need to flatline.
Heart has to stop.
Yeah.
and then restart. So they're kind of.
I was wondering that as well when he went, you know, like he brought her back, and it's like, how are they sure that her heart actually stopped? Like, and then I was very on edge, and I was like, I don't trust this. It's a Final Destination movie. Of course, they're not getting out of this. Like,
no one ever survives.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
You know, you look at all of them. There's no survivors. Even in the movie, they point out only one person has ever survived this, and that's how we know how to do this.
But like, so I mean, like, it just kind of made sense then from that when I was like, I don't trust this, that girl didn't actually, her heart didn't actually 100% stop. Like, do you know? But their deaths then at the end were just.
And I'm pretty sure that, do they have that same rule with that? Because technically if you're sentenced to death and you die and come back, you've served your sentence.
Yeah.
So I think they were just running off of that kind of idea, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was enjoyable. And they had a few twists in there to catch you off. As Final Destination likes to do that. They like to make you think you know what's going to happen, and then bang, 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 something else happens.
Well, it kind of clicked when the older brother stood behind the wheelchair. I was like, oh shit, he's fucking with death. So he's after putting himself in the firing line. Do you know, he's not supposed to be in that sequence.
No, he wasn't. Unless that was his time to go. Maybe he was going to die that day anyway.
No, he used that. It was playing off on. I get what you're saying. Outside of the sequence,
maybe he was just destined to go that day.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you know? But Tony Todd kind of foreshadowed his death, as in it was nearly a warning. Don't fuck with it because it's going to get messy, and it did get messy for him.
That's true. His scene was nice because you're used to in all the other movies. He's so
ominous.
Yeah, dark and kind of deep voiced and almost snarky. What he was saying to them, almost like. Can't fight, that's going to get you no matter what you try to do. I'll give you advice, but fuck that. But in this, you could tell the man knew this was his last role.
Yeah. There's a few lines you could really feel
they say that was
his goodbye.
Yeah, but it wasn't scripted.
Oh, really?
That was just him improv. It was just his message to the fans.
Stop now because I start crying.
But like you could hear the emotion in his voice that character hadn't had before.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Absolutely.
And you could see that this was his last. This was his bow and I'm gone now. And even though he said it was like, I'm going to retire and I'll go enjoy the rest of my life. His
face, you could tell he was at a stage where he was sick in real life. Like,
yeah.
He didn't look bad. Don't get me wrong. He didn't look bad, but you could tell he was not 100%.
That man gave everything to fucking her. I mean, he's the candy man. He's, Final Destination. He was in the remake of he was in Tom Savini's remake of Night of the Living Dead. He's the main character.
Have I seen that?
Ben. It's the color because the black and white one is Romero's. And that had a main character, the main guy, and that was black too. And that was kind of the thing about it, because at the end of that, he gets killed coming out of the thing. I don't know if Tony Todd's character dies in this one.
In the sixth one?
No, sorry. In Night of the Living Dead. I feel like I can barely remember now the ending, but I feel like he might have been shot more on a race thing in the second version, or the remake of it, rather than in the first one, where I think in one of them, I think he was shot for being black, not for being zombie, but excused for being a zombie.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. I'd have to watch it again because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think that would be a good one to show Riley.
Did I just
see many zombie ones?
Miss him in The Crow? Did that go straight over my head? Because not that long ago since we rewatched The Crow.
I can't think of him in The Crow.
That's him there in The Crow. He's called Grange, kind of like. Oh,
he was the bad guy's kind of side.
Whoa, beside the long hair. Now I remember. Yeah, everything's falling into place for me here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, look, it was a nice send off from him. It was a nice.
It was nice
to the fans. It was nice to let him get his last word in there, and
absolutely
give his little bow, give his applause. And it was emotional. It was emotional. You could hear the emotion in his voice. But yeah, it's definitely one I'd recommend to watch. It's something different. It's the same but different. The different but the same. I mean, it is. I mean, like, that's the thing about Final Destination. It is the same movie over and over and over and over again. It's more of a movie kind of showing you the coolest deaths you can fucking pull off in movies these days. And it was, the set pieces were awesome. The way they put everything together, the tension building by constantly zooming in on all these possible fucking things that could get you. And then usually it's the thing you don't expect to finally get them. I did love with the MRI machine how the guy you think is going to die is standing there, and then that little fucking thing that I'm not going to say because I don't want to kill this, but that little hint they give you a few minutes earlier is the thing that gets them. The little thing that they try and fake you out with the vending machine. turns out to be the thing that gets him.
Oh, I wasn't too sure where that came from. I did not know where that thing that actually got him came from. I thought it was just now I remember. Yeah.
That's about to go through the glass, but it's not.
It keeps moving.
Used to scare. I've been in an MRI machine twice.
I haven't.
And I have one piercing at the top of my ear here that can't come out.
That's titanium though, yeah?
I don't know. But it's been there since I was 16 and the ball is stuck. And no matter how hard I try, I mean, I've had to go to job interviews. I had to start jobs where like no piercings. Like this just doesn't come out. I mean, you can try, but it won't come out. It's fucking stuck. So it's there. That's it. It's staying there. We're going into the MRI machine. They're like, that could be a problem. Could rip out of your ear. I was like, oh, nice, thanks. And then there was a problem as well because the tattoos.
Depends on how the ink is made, what's in the ink.
They said that to me. When I got there, the first MRI I had, they looked at my tattoos. They said, they look very high quality.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it comes from my tattoo shop, so I know where the fucking ink comes from. And I pay enough for the ink, you know?
The ink that I think is, you know the way when you see tattoos and they're kind of gone black tattoos and they're gone that kind of like a green colour and it's kind of a very kind of ferrousy colour, like it's iron. I think those are the ones you have to watch out with. With piercings, medical grade piercings are usually titanium, and titanium won't interact with an MRI machine, so you should be okay. I'm pretty sure that when you're a tattoo studio, I was always told that it was medical grade piercings that you were using. 16. Oh, so it wasn't your tattoo studio.
My mom did this for me with a piercing gun.
But how long have you had?
And the piercing gun was probably from the 80s.
But that was you got it done when you were 16. But how old is the hoop?
I'm pretty sure it's the same one I've had in from day one. I think I had a stud in it.
You need a stud for the first few weeks.
For the first while.
Yeah.
And then I switched it over and it's been the same one since.
Okay.
Maybe I changed it when I had the tattoo studio. I really can't remember, but it's been there a long ass time. It doesn't come out anymore.
You've had it as long as I've been with you.
It's stuck. The MRI machine couldn't even get it out.
That's called a fireman.
But I was pretty relieved when they told me about it. They were like, your tattoos should be fine. But if you feel any stinging, let us know. Sound,
yeah.
It's tight now. I don't know how you let them know because it's loud as fuck and it's tight. But I suppose they must have some...
Did they tell you to raise your hand or just to shout out?
You can't raise your hand.
No, but I mean like move your hand.
Oh, you're not supposed to move at all.
Yeah, no, they have to restart again if you move. But obviously if you're in pain, they're going to want you to let them know. So I'm just curious how they do it, how that works.
It was fine. The only thing that really fucked up me was my eyes. It was like, I'm looking at it because you're obviously looking to see it pipe in music to you. Shit music. You can barely hear it anyway over the fucking...
You can request... an eye mask.
But it was like fucking my eyes would start going. I was going cross-eyed. So I just closed my eyes and just lay there. I can't see it. It's not happening.
How long did it last? 25 minutes? About 20 minutes, 25 minutes?
No. I'd say maybe 10 minutes tops.
Okay.
Both occasions.
Cool.
But I mean, that scene would not make me scared to go. I would be more worried about getting into a tanning bed after the tanning bed scene than I would be about getting into an MRI machine.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd be more worried about getting into a really, really tall building after 6.
Well, that fucking thing. Yeah.
No, I'd be... And then people, I mean, I'll never jump on a glass floor. Do you know?
I always just assume this stuff is super reinforced, you know?
Yeah.
No, it is the 60s and the
exactly.
Start, which you don't really know. But the only problem with watching these movies is one after the other like we did was you do start worrying about stuff like you were saying it and I was saying we said it to each other afterwards and we were on the bus. And then we pulled in at the bus and the bus started making a really loud, funny fucking sound.
All I was thinking was we're right at the back.
And everyone was really slowly getting out of the bus. I was just like, get the fuck out.
Thank God I'm not the only one because I didn't say it to you at the time, but I felt that anxiety as well as I need to get off this bus.
Like, I am not getting final destination.
But you know what was worse? When we were stopped in traffic before that, because we were at the back of the bus, I think it's the only reason I was getting that smell. Did you kind of get that burny kind of fuel smell? And I was like, oh shit. And then it gets really loud when we're pulled up waiting for everybody to get off. I was like, double shit.
Yeah, it's a good. It was enjoyable. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching. I had fun watching it, and I had fun watching the deaths. And like I said, it's not a that it's a and it answered the question that we fucking asked only like a week or two ago.
What was that?
We were talking a week or two ago about like how eventually they're going to bring. You are going to have a horror movie that will show the child death, and once it's done, we'll all be okay with it. But they found a way to kill a child and make you fucking root for it because the child was a prick.
He was awful. He was not a nice person at all.
As soon as he threw that coin, I looked at you and I was like, I hope the fuck that little prick gets it first.
Yep.
And when
absolutely.
that piano landed on his head, I was like, yes!
I kind of think it before when he's there throwing the coin, it's like, oh, lob him off the side, Mr. Guard, man. I've never thought that about a kid, but if anyone deserved it. That coin came back to fuck with them big time.
Yeah. Nice little kind of turn on. The old lady survived though. Who got the coin?
We see, I don't think that she was in Death's fire. I think she was Death's unknowing accomplice.
We have a few small bits before we jump onto some true crime news. Camp Crystal Lake, they've started building sets for the TV show. Because I felt like that TV show was just going to keep getting pushed off. But now we know they are on the road to making this thing. I'm curious to see what this is like. I assume we're not going to see a whole pile of killing Jason in this, maybe child Jason. I wonder will they make him special needs? He was special needs, wasn't he? That was kind of the thing about it, wasn't it? He needed extra attention.
He needed extra attention. I don't think he was like very, very, very bad, but I think he was a kid with like learning difficulties and stuff like that. Well, in my head, I never thought that he was like extremely disabled.
I can't remember. I know it's mentioned in the first one a little bit. And I mean, obviously he's got some physical deformities.
Well, obvious, yeah.
I wonder how they'll play off that. Will he be a regular looking kid and we play up how it happened to him? Will the Necronomicon come into this? Because according to Jason Goes to Hell,
same universe,
he might be a Deadite. So yeah. Why are you looking so confused?
Because our Deadites, as in like, if he was killed by the camp counselors by mistake,
how does he come back?
I thought that somebody had to be alive to come back as a Deadite. Would be killed by the evil.
Remember, we're talking about Jason in a period of time.
I could be wrong. This could be my brain linking it up.
But again, you're talking about Jason in a time where they didn't really give a shit about canon and stuff like that. It was just roll out another fucking cheap movie.
So does that mean we get to watch The Evil Dead again before we watch it?
At the end of that movie, do they not show Freddy Krueger's hand or something like that coming out of a grave or something like that? Do they not play up the fact that Krueger could be coming from, but then there was like another few movies before they actually got to Freddy versus Jason? Like they definitely did Jason X in the meantime and stuff like that. So like I think it was just to kind of make money, because even if you look at the start of Jason Goes to Hell, it's very low budget, very kind of silly with like fucking the soldiers coming in and trying to shoot them down and all that kind of shit. I actually have to watch that movie again because I can't really remember a whole pile of it. I remember liking it despite the fact that most people hate it.
It's all right.
I found it fun, you know, and I you know me with films. I'm just,
you find them all fun.
The more the merrier. Everything is great.
The more movies, the better.
I was actually looking at stuff about was a guy what's his face from who wrote Final Destination.
Oh yeah,
Guy Busick, is it? And he is currently working on Scream 7. He is also the man that did Ready or Not and Scream 5 and 6 with his partner, whose name I can't think of right now. But he was talking about Scream, and he was saying that this is just a little side note. He was saying that, like, because people are asking about the whole Sydney coming back into it now for Scream 7. How does that work? And he promises that the idea they have will make it perfectly, like, it'll make sense as to why this has to be all centered around Sydney. To the point that they went to Neve Campbell with the idea, and she was like, yep, that works. You know? Because originally they had another idea for the Core 4.
Okay.
And they had a whole fucking story ready for that to go. And he was a bit disappointed they didn't get to go through with that. And he hopes maybe down the line, maybe, or whatever. But, you know, they had to start from scratch with this. So he didn't want to give too much away because obviously, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously something funny has to be coming back because we have Matthew Lillard back.
Everyone.
Arquette back. And we have Scott Foley back.
It'd be nice to see Randy back.
So... well, they're the only three that have been confirmed. Maybe there'll be more. I still think there might be a hint of maybe AI or flashbacks or something, you know, coming into play here.
Yeah, but I mean, they did Ghosty the last time we had a return, so maybe it might be kind of Ghosty again.
All of them? All three of them? You know, it might be a bit much.
Seance.
And especially if it's all to revolve around Sydney. it would make sense. We'd be very close to her, you know, after the events, especially. You know, he would have been like her. Because she lost his sister, I'd say she would have been.
She's
like
got Alzheimer's.
Sister. What?
She has Alzheimer's, and she's seeing all these people from her past.
Is that not just a bit of a fucking shitty version of what happened with?
I'm just surmising what could happen. But you know what I'm saying? These are all options if you want to bring them back. I mean, it might be a good option, but it's an option. But I was saying today, the way that they have Stab, maybe they have like a virtual reality or like a video game, and they have their likeness in it. The
problem there is that none of those actors we spoke about played themselves in the Stab movies. They had specific actors.
I know, I understand that. I'm not saying that it's those actors. I'm saying like the way that they have Stab in the old movies to bring it forward then for a new generation, that instead of having Stab,
they use the likeness of the real killers?
Well, it's a movie. They might get away with that.
Yeah, but it's a very woke movie, isn't it? They're not going to really jump on. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait till March.
Okay.
See what happens. It is March coming out, I think.
Yes.
Isn't it? I hope it is, because I can't wait any fucking longer.
And you'll see that I'm right.
Also, big news. Apparently, Terrifier Damien Leone has said that we will get Art's backstory within the first 15 minutes of the new movie. So we're going to learn all about where the killer clown comes from, what he was doing before he became demonic. It's not apparently going to be nice. He's not going to be like a nice guy who accidentally got possessed and now is evil. He's going to be an evil spirit. The evil connects to the most evil thing it could find, kind of thing.
Okay.
To make him this supernatural psychopath.
As much as I'm excited to seeing his backstory, I am excited to see what happened to Laura Navarro's dad.
Yeah, you're mad for that, aren't you?
I'm convinced he's down there, that she saw him and that she was the not panel beater, what you call him, blacksmith kind of guy.
I feel like this is going to go full Freddy Krueger, you know, because we're now like, it's completely gone from the plane of reality at all. Like any reality you could find in the Terrifier series, because there was a sense of reality in it until Art starts coming back and, you know,
being birthed as a head,
women's vaginas and stuff. You know, there was elements of supernatural, but it was still just a serial killer chasing down fucking kids and killing them in the most gruesome fucking manner.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have like her in the depths of hell or the underworld or whatever it is. Obviously trying to find a little kid. You're going to have Jonathan, who isn't dead. No way is he dead. He'll probably be on the top end, you know, up in Earth trying to get her back and stuff like that. Find ways. I don't know. Again, speculation, but we're going to have to wait until next year as well for that one.
Yep. Unfortunately. What's that guy's name again?
Who?
Jonathan's name in real life.
Elliot Fulham. He has a little band as well.
Does he?
A punker he is.
Oh, he's only 20. I actually thought he was younger.
20 seems old. But then again, he's always posting pictures of himself really, really, really young at like horror conventions and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah, if you look at it like that. Yeah. Oh, he's in the Pitchfork upcoming. Post-production. That's horror. Oh, with Tony Todd.
What?
We've got another Tony Todd movie coming with Jonathan Fulham in it.
Go away.
Yeah, Pitchfork. It's in post-production right now, so they're wrapping up with it.
Jeez. That'll be his when you come back out again, his encore.
His encore, yeah.
One more encore, Tony, encore.
Oh, do you know something creepy?
What?
Its directors are Gregory and Nicole Van Voorhees.
Voorhees?
Yeah, with an I instead of an E.
Talk to me too. They have 2 scripts for this movie that they're talking. They're trying to work out which one they want to use. I don't know much about either of the scripts. All I know is it's a good thing that they're making more. I enjoyed it. One. It was a bit mental, but I enjoyed it.
I still enjoyed it.
That was an Australian movie, right? Or are they Australian?
I think it's an Australian movie. Talk to Me, I'm pretty sure is an Australian movie.
I'm almost certain. It's been a while since I saw it. And we've only seen it the one time. Yeah, Australian horror film. Talk to Me.
I remember that because when we were going into it, I was saying all Australian horrors are good because the loved ones. I mean, I keep telling you, you got to watch it. I've seen it. That's fantastic.
I will check it out. Another one that's been talked about is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Yeah, which is more emotional than a horror. I understand it.
I've never found Frankenstein scary.
No, I have found it emotional. I mean, like even the Robert De Niro one, you can't help but your heart going out to Frankenstein's monster at times. You really can't.
Well, I will admit, right, when I saw the Robert De Niro version, That was probably my first real Frankenstein movie. I hadn't seen the black and white Frankensteins at that point. The only other exposure I had to Frankenstein was all the parodies that had been done of it. And obviously the main movie I would have seen was Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks as a kid, you know? So when I actually saw De Niro's Frankenstein, I was a bit let down because there was nothing scary about it. The scariest thing in that movie is when he's on the fucking ceiling looking down and it like you get the flash of lightning and it's like
for its time though, when that book first came out, like it would have been scary. But now it's not exactly scary to us.
It's more of an emotional, so I can understand how this is going to be an emotional kind of movie because it is, like you say, you feel more for the monster than anything else. You know?
It's like Phantom of the Opera. He's not really a nice guy either, but you can see the person behind that just wants human connection.
But Frankenstein, it's not even that he's not a nice guy. It's like what we were talking about Leatherface.
Well, Phantom isn't a nice guy.
Was it last week we were talking about Leatherface?
Oh, Leatherface.
And we were saying how like Leatherface really is
a product.
Yeah, he's again someone with special needs who's learning difficulties and all this stuff, who is been born and bred into this family of cannibalistic psychopaths. And I think you kind of have the same thing here with Frankenstein, where Frankenstein is created, and if he was created and treated lovingly and like a son by his father and a family member, then Frankenstein would have reacted differently. But he is nothing but a science project to his father, Dr. Frankenstein, you know? And he's only reacting to how he is being treated and how he is going forward.
And
you know,
it's also the villagers kind of,
even as you push on with the movies, and Dr. Frankenstein is gone, then Dr. Frankenstein's son is gone, then Dr. Frankenstein's brother is gone. Igor is the guy that's fucking him around because Igor's pulling on his emotional heartstrings. He's like, you know, I'm taking care of you. I'm gonna mind you. It's all okay. Just do what Igor says. You know.
Yeah.
And then eventually Igor gets his head, his body, his mind, or his brain put into another body. And I don't know, I watched them all in a fucking binge as well, and it was a bit of a blur.
Igor was Bela Lugosi in one of them, wasn't he? While Karloff, I'm pretty sure there's one movie where Lugosi's Igor and Karloff is Frankenstein. Yeah, let me just double check this.
I think I like the Universal Frankensteins because you get the stereotypical Frankenstein going through, yeah? But the Hammer Frankensteins...
Son of Frankenstein. Yeah.
The second one.
Yeah.
So the Hammer ones were interesting because they took the same concept and kept evolving it and making it different. It wasn't the same monster every time. Do you know where Christopher Lee was the monster in the first one? And then it was different in the second one. They had moved somewhere else and it was trying to get, kind of make a new monster, and it just kept kind of evolving that way.
Yeah.
But again, they're both fun to watch. I'm looking forward to this. I'm also looking forward to The Bride. Did I see that The Bride is some sort of a musical as well?
That would make sense because Jessie Buckley is known for having an amazing voice.
I would say anyone going to see these two movies, don't go in there expecting jump scares and to be terrified leaving. I think
they're
these
gothic
will be more,
horrors, gothic romance horrors, nearly like
girl horror.
No, just because something has more depth to it, it doesn't make it girl horror. Thank you very much.
Well, depth would not make you more intelligent and deep thinking than us all splatterfest boys.
All of you watching Cops. Yeah, I'm pretty sure The Bride. Yeah, well, there's an exclamation mark. And the last time I saw a movie do that was The Producers. That was musical. So you can call it The Bride.
Yeah. We use a lot of exclamation marks. It's alive. Alive!
Remember we did the interview, our first interview, and he was really, I can't remember the man's name, but
Travis.
The way he said, it's alive. So he was, the way he introduced it, I quite liked it, because every time he said it, he was like, it's alive. Like, oh, that's the way we intended it.
Well, to be honest, I just like it's really easy to just say alive podcast.
Yeah.
really quick. Okay, we got 2 bits of true crime. What should we do? Should we go to Diddy Watch first? We'll do Diddy Watch first, and we'll save something that we should have really been talking about for fucking months, but kept forgetting
it's
every
so
week when we sat
close
down.
Though as well, and I think out of respect, why they were.
Well, no, it's better that we waited this long. So now we have a lot more information to delve into. But all right, Diddy Watch.
Okay.
For the last few weeks, I have been saying stuff like, I don't really understand what they're doing at the moment. I knew there was a game plan here.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like they were proving any of the charges he was brought up on. They were just proving he was an abusive prick. An evil, abusive prick. That changed this week. Mm-hmm. It changed. Like, even with Kid Cudi, it didn't seem like they were proving a whole lot.
They blew up his car.
But there wasn't. I mean, that was one little thing. It just didn't feel like they could prove any of it. There was no evidence, nothing. The fingerprints in the Kid Cudi thing, they went to the LAPD. They got expired. They got destroyed. So we don't have any actual solid evidence. All you're going off of is what Cudi says, what Cassie says, and the fact that the fire department and police department said it was arson.
Well, fill me in on what's changed your mind this week, because I haven't had the time to follow it as closely this week.
So this week we had two big witnesses. The first one being, hang on, let me find his name again because I get.
There
was actually three big witnesses this week. Sorry, we had Capricorn Clark, who was one of his assistants. Their assistant and a stylist. The stylist was, hang on, let me just get his name. Is
Capricorn
really
Clark the guy that said he was kind of nearly being groomed to have relation? Oh, this is a different guy, I'm thinking so.
No, Capricorn Clark worked for him. She was mentioned by Kid Cudi as being present when the shit with his car went off and all that stuff. No, she claims that she was essentially kidnapped for that. That Diddy showed up at her house and was like, where's Cassie? Where's Kid Cudi's house? We are going there now. And he was holding a gun while he was doing it. Now, she said this was the first time she had ever seen him holding and waving it. She said she had seen guns around, but this is the first time he's erratically waving it around. Yeah. And she said she felt like she didn't want to go with him to Kid Cudi's house because he was threatening to kill Kid Cudi. But she felt like she had no choice but to go to Kid Cudi's house with him. And then when he went in and broke into the house with the security guards, she really, really quickly tried to call Cassie to let her know what was going on before he came back out. But he came back out and caught her coming off the phone, grabbed the phone off her and started going through the phone and telling her, ring her again and tell her we're on the fucking way. But the thing about it is then you had Deontay Nash, who was a stylist for Cassie, but he has said, like, you know, that he was manhandled and beaten up a few. He had witnessed Diddy beating the shit out of her once or twice and had to jump on his back to stop him. That there was a lot of threats, a lot of coercion. So you're proving there the whole coercion thing and the idea. And he specified many times that Cassie had told them she did not want to take part in any of this stuff, that she was being forced. He found out about the freak offs because she'd been keeping it to herself. She hadn't been telling friends. And at one point, Diddy was chasing them in a car. And eventually, they decided to pull over and just deal with it. Okay. And when he got up to the car, he was screaming at her. And he was in the passenger side. And he turned around. He was basically making threats. He's like, you fuck with me. And I'm going to release all those videos on the internet. And afterwards, he was like, what's he talking about videos? Is that of you and him or something? And she's like, no, me with other guys. And then she told him what was going on. And then he said later on, like, there was another time he went to visit her in a hotel. And then she was like, all right, you got to split because there's a guy coming over. And he was like, do you want to be doing this? And she's like, no. But, you know, I have to. And Capricorn Clark said very similar stuff that, you know, there was a lot of times where they had to run and hide from him. And and that she'd be hiding from him. And there was a lot of times where she just looked terrified, you know. And this idea of that, everybody keeps saying the same thing, that when he's in this rage, there's like his eyes just go totally black. Which is serial killer territory, right? Maya, which is a pseudonym for a personal assistant that used to work with him. She's really playing, building this up as well as damning because she is saying stuff like, I had to ask permission to leave or go anywhere. Cassie had to ask for permission to leave his house and go anywhere. Her first time working for him, as a test, he kind of forced her to work like fucking 24 hours. And the longest she had worked without sleep was something like 5 whole days. No,
I'd be gone. I'd get fired because I'd be a cranky bitch.
Yeah, well, he threatens that a lot. He also she's the one that says she was sexually assaulted by her, but by him. At one point, like she said, she was asleep. She woke up and he was on top of her. Another time, he dragged her into a closet and started doing stuff with her and all this stuff. But he would then frame it like it was consensual and started using it against her because she was best friends with Cassie.
When did she say yes when she was asleep?
she was best friends with Cassie. So he would then start using it against her, saying, well, I'm going to tell her fucking everything you've done with me if you don't cop the fuck on and do as I fucking tell you to do. So he was constantly, so that the coercion is there.
Manipulating relationships.
And it's very similar to the R. Kelly situation of women being trapped in a house that they can't leave. They can't go anywhere.
Asking for permission to come up from the bedroom, even like when they have people over.
He'll start blowing up their fucking phone and trying to fucking get in contact with her and like texting them and telling them, you're fucked. When I catch you, you're fucking dead. You get back here now. And to her, it was like, you get back here now or you're fucking fired. She got suspended without pay for bringing his wrong gym gear to the gym for him one day.
The assistant.
Like, this is how serious, how on him he is all the time. And he's threatening them constantly, beating them constantly, fucking sexually assaulting them, forcing them to do
stuff. Should they not have like workplace relations committee over there, or is it that they're too scared to go against him and be like, you can't fucking do that?
She once mentioned it to a higher up in Bad Boy Records and got suspended without pay from Diddy. And threatened to be fired. Someone else was
she could have taken to the fucking
Capricorn Clark, it might have been actually, sorry, it mightn't have been her. I'm mixing the two of them up a little bit because it's, you know, you're just reading all this information coming at you the whole time. What my point is, what I'm getting at is they're starting now to prove, because also she mentioned that she had been, Capricorn Clark mentioned she had been kind of bullied into taking drugs with him and stuff like that she didn't want to take, and feeling trapped in the situation. So you're starting to see a lot of stuff now, as like we were talking sex trafficking. We kind of both believed it was the prostitutes being bought back and forth and so that. Now I'm starting to think it's maybe they were being forced to go somewhere across state lines to engage in prostitution with another person, you know, and not that they were getting paid, but they were going sleeping with a prostitute in another place, but they were being forced to go there. So you're starting to prove now that he is forcing people, coercing people. He is fucking transporting prostitutes from one place to another. He is telling his security to go out and do these certain things to other people. Like, I mean, like the threats to Kid Cudi were fucking pretty serious near the end, like, you know. And that, you know, like these women feel like they're completely powerless and trapped. And a lot of the personal assistants keep saying the fucking same thing. And even Cassie kind of said the same thing in a way. It was like, you have to realize, by the time you realize how shitty things are, you've worked really fucking hard in a fucking really hard business to get yourself to this fucking level, right? And he is telling you there is no other job outside this. You leave here, I am going to make sure your reputation is shit. You are going to get a job nowhere else. We will blackball you. We'll make sure your career is over. So you're forced, then you're trapped because you spent all your fucking, you know, working, you're the start you're working like building your career, and it's, you know, if you leave, that's it, you're done. I mean, Maya, the girl that called him Maya, even said that after she left him, she hasn't been able to hold a normal job since, because when small little things go wrong in a job,
she starts to get filled with anxiety, like
PTSD, and she starts to panic and thinking, I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to get in trouble. And she's even saying she's having night terrors about Diddy, like, you know? Jesus. So I think now we're starting to see this kind of roll out and see that there was a plan at the start to just start showing little bits, and now start showing how this is getting more and more similar to kind of R. Kelly, where he's trapping these women in this house. He has complete control over them. He's taking their phones off them and going through them. He's taking things away from them as punishments. He's taking their fucking livelihood away from them as punishments. He's constantly got to know where they are. Constantly have to have tabs on them. Like, I believe it was Maya that said as well, like, that originally she was put with Cassie, or maybe Capricorn Clark said it, maybe they both said it, I can't really remember, that they were basically put with Maya, or put with Cassie to keep tabs on Cassie.
So they should report back to Diddy.
Ring her and say, what the fuck's she up to? What's she doing now? But I mean, like, the things he was calling Cassie as well. Like, I mean, you're a slut, you're a bitch, you're fucking shit. You know, you're putting her down so that she was at her lowest level. Like, you know?
Keeping her at her lowest level.
Mental fucking shit. I don't know. They're talking now like this is going to go on 8 full weeks at least.
I thought they were trying to have it done in 6. No,
they were talking, but see, it keeps fluctuating. Like 1 week they're talking about, oh, we might get this done early. Yesterday they were saying this might actually run longer than we were expecting. I don't really fucking know. All I know is they are starting to kind of pick up on the charges. He's got a racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sexual trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. That is starting to be proven now. And 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, which it definitely happened. We know that one happened. That one's been proven out now.
And that's not as in like, say, like it doesn't necessarily have to be that he's prostituting the girl. It's that he's forcing the girl to sleep with a prostitute. Like,
pretty much coercing
engage
her into it.
But as in like engaging in prostitution could go either way, can it? According to the law, as in like that charge.
Engage in prostitution. Yeah. I suppose it could. Yeah. But like they have now like put up email threads and text threads between her and Deontay Nash and her and Maya and stuff like that, where she is clearly saying, "I don't want to fucking do this. He is forcing me," like, you know. And the thing about Prince, it was it. I think it was her and Capricorn Clark. Well, Cassie and one of the personal assistants were staying at a hotel and they'd been told, "You are to fucking stay in this room. Do not go anywhere. I'll be back for you in the morning." And then friends of theirs rang him and said, "Okay, Prince is having a party down here." He said,
yeah.
So they went to the party and they were like, it was amazing. We were dancing on a purple dance floor. He was up on a little stage playing music for us and stuff like that. And it was like, and then I saw Diddy's bucket hat coming in the door and I knew it was him and he looked like he was fucking raging and we both took off running. Like fucking running to try and hide from him. That he eventually caught a hold of Cassie and started beating the shit over, but Prince's security jumped on him and pulled them apart.
Fair play, Prince's security. They're the only fucking people that I've heard of so far fucking helping the girl.
There was another occasion where they were on an island with him and he started to freak out. So the two of them went running and they found a paddle boat and got in the paddle boat and started paddling out to sea. And they said it was fine to start with because everything was calm and they could see little Dot Diddy on the fucking beach freaking the fuck out. But then the water started to get rough and it was like, do we risk the water or do we risk Diddy? You know, and they had to sit there and decide whether to risk the rough water or go back and deal with what he was going to do.
Could they go around to the other side?
They just went back. Jesus. And I think that's the big problem as well. It was like Cassie just kept going back, kept kind of giving up and going, just go back and I'll face the music. You know, and again, that's just something that happens to people who are being abused.
It is,
you know, and
yeah.
Especially then, I suppose, her thinking as well is, I don't want my best friends to be getting fucking shit for this as well. I'll take it. You know, I'm used to it kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know.
Keeping the peace kind of thing.
I do feel like, though, it's starting to build up now and it's starting to prove a lot of shit, you know? Definitely. We're starting to get there. We'll see how things go. We'll see who else gets called up. I'm kind of not looking forward to it, but I'm
interested in seeing how the outcome.
Yeah. Who else turns up in this case and how it works out. I've seen people mentioning online Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis being called, but it might be called. Now, that was only a side fucking thing. Ashton Kutcher himself has come out multiple times and said, I hung out with him on a few occasions. Like there's a clip out there of Ashton Kutcher talking about being at one of Diddy's parties, and when he was asked to talk more about it, he was like, I can't really talk about what happens at Diddy's parties. So like that doesn't look good. Don't take. But I would
assume no. But I mean, like I would assume that kind of goes for any celebrity party that you don't really talk about. I mean, like they're all in their own kind of.
Yeah, but under the context of
what's going on now. Yeah.
No, apparently what it was they were actually kind of fitness buddies. They were running for. They had met somewhere. They got friendly and they used to go jogging together, and then they did a marathon together, and they were friendly in that sense. They're distancing themselves anyway. And I don't know if they're involved. And apparently they're looking to move to Europe or have moved to Europe.
Oh, Ireland's open.
To try and get away from them, like, you know?
Yeah.
From the whole shit. But would really look bad for Ashton Kutcher, wouldn't it? Your last mate just got fucking jailed for rape, who you wrote a fucking glowing reference letter for. Yep. And now you're mates with Diddy. I like Ashton Kutcher.
But when you hear about
turned out to be an asshole.
The divorce with him and Demi Moore, it just feels very slimy as well. Like, because apparently that ended because like they had not an open relationship, but they kind of had threesomes and stuff like that. And then he went off and he got with another girl, and like the whole excuse was, it was kind of blurred lines. I thought I was allowed to do things like that.
You really want to have strict rules.
You need to specify, I think. But apparently that's not what Demi Moore wanted. So now this is just what I read. I don't know.
I suppose we're just going to see over next. This is week 3, day 13, I believe. So
week 3, jeez, it feels like longer.
So we will see. We're nearly halfway there. So we'll see how things play out. They want to be. They're hoping to be finished by the 4th of July.
Okay, so they can all have a bit of.
We've been running through May. We got June coming, so we'll see how they go.
Yes,
it's been interesting.
Oh my God, I thought you were about to say it's been fun.
Interesting reading.
Interesting.
You know, I've been following the updates on Sky News every day and just refreshing.
Sky News is good for it.
Well, it's good, yeah. They keep all the real salacious shit out of it.
And you know what? That's only fucking fair. If someone has the courage to go and talk about it on stand, you keep it out of your fucking mouth. Like, you only need to report the facts. Right. The hard-hitting facts.
That's enough of Diddy this week. Right. This is one, again, I suppose I am surprised I haven't talked about it yet. It's like I just kept forgetting about it every week.
But we never actually knew what happened to him up until last week.
Well, just the missing persons thing up until this. It's after getting more interesting now with the whole suspect talking too much. And so, about 8 weeks ago, in March, a farmer in Kenmare, which is in County Kerry, which is where we're from.
Kerry, yeah.
So it's still a bit away from us. It's still a good hour and a half drive away from us.
Easily.
But a well-liked farmer from Kenmare went missing. And the only footage they had of him up until that point was they had CCTV footage of him in a shop buying phone credit that morning. And then they found his car unlocked with a roll he had bought, a sandwich that he had bought from the deli in that same shop.
Did he?
Was in the, this is what I read somewhere, was in the car. Okay. His phone and his wallet were in the car. And people said that was odd.
He bought credit in the shop as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was seen as odd because people didn't think he'd leave his stuff on its own that way. But apparently his farm is like 1,000 acres. So it's fucking huge. And it's away from his actual home. So for about 6 weeks, there was like extensive searches done.
Slurry tanks drained, you name it, they did it.
All of his land and beyond. On the idea that maybe he had, fallen ill, had a heart attack, a stroke, something like that, and he was in a place where he couldn't get himself out of, or maybe he passed away while he was out there, and they were trying to find the body, and it wasn't being treated as suspicious as that. No. Just a missing persons case, and in that, I know that place.
I was just looking at it. Fucking hell, Josh. We get it. Yeah.
Anyway, after about 6 weeks, it got reclassified as a homicide case. And with that, they were saying it doesn't necessarily mean that that we believe he was murdered. It just means he has been missing for so long, and we can't find any his remains, that we believe there is probably foul play.
But I think it gives them more powers as well. Yeah.
And at that point, everything just went quiet again, and no one knew anything.
No.
Then about 2 weeks ago, his nephew, I think, was out pouring slurry
from the spreader,
which is just cow shit, yeah.
Oh yeah, slurry
on the fields to help with the growth, fertilize the grass, and the machine clogs up. Nephew gets out, pulls out a vertebrae from the machine. Now we all know that the man is dead, but they had to test everything and find out was it him. But they realized that while they emptied the main chamber of the slurry pit, they didn't bother with a smaller chamber attached to it. And his remains were splattered over about 2 or 3 fucking fields.
Yeah.
They then went on to start searching and realized that this man, Micheal Gaine, owned 3 chainsaws, but only 2 were on the farm.
Yep.
They then found a 3rd chainsaw hidden around the place, which boggles me when they were doing an extensive search how they didn't come across the chainsaw.
Do you have to register? You have to register a chainsaw, don't you? As far as I know, I think I think that you might have to have paperwork for a chainsaw.
Not a clue. But so they start to kind of hypothesize what's going on here. It's like, obviously he was killed, dismembered with the chainsaw, and bit by little bit put into the slurry pit.
Through the little kind of slats.
And I think there's chemicals in the slurry pit to break stuff down as well.
It's like a septic tank. Like there's chemicals in a septic tank as well. Yeah.
No, the thing we had all heard really early on that Mr. Gaine had allowed an American man who was down on his luck to stay in a derelict house on his farm. And now we're hearing kind of stuff that every now and then when the weather was really bad, he'd actually let him come up and stay in the house as well.
Which is a very nice thing to do. Very salt of the earth thing to do.
But we had also heard beforehand that he was trying to get this man off his property, that he was done with him. This man is an ex-Marine from America who was seeking asylum here over some shit that was going on in America. He felt it was unjustly being...
He said that if he goes back to America, he'll be wrongly prosecuted.
Okay. So he got refused asylum here and he got a deportation notice. So he wasn't anyway. This man's named Micheal Kelly. Now, he's only a suspect.
He's not been charged.
No, he hasn't been charged. No. He was arrested, questioned, and released. But the weird thing about this was his solicitor, who I've used in the past, was contacted and he said no comment. And then they kind of doorstepped this man, Micheal Kelly, went to his doorstep and said, hey, you're the suspect. And he admitted it, bang, straight and started talking to the press, which is fucking crazy.
And posed for photos and all. Like.
Posed for photos. And he's out busking around Trelino to make money. He looks like a fucking psychopath, to be honest. I don't know. I shouldn't be saying that because he might not have done anything.
It's not been proven.
This is just
alleged.
Possible. Not even alleged. He's a suspect.
But I think there was 3 people that were kind of questioned, wasn't there?
But I will say, when it was pointed out to me that a Marine was staying on, an ex-Marine who had all these problems was staying on his thing and it was a chainsaw death, it just seemed like it was more probable that he might have been involved rather, because you and I both looked at each other when we heard the chainsaw thing. It was like, that really does. It's a very fucking, I mean, it's possible, but it's really odd because I know for other countries you might be thinking, well, this shit happens every day. Doesn't happen in this country every day.
It doesn't.
And it definitely doesn't happen in this side of the country every day. It happens maybe in Dublin, maybe in cities, Limerick City, stuff like that. Cities.
I mean, this has shocked the whole county and further. It's the type of death the man received and the way he was treated after death. Like
this guy coming out, then he's saying that he's being framed. He started talking about like the fucking mafia, which is bizarre because the mafia aren't in Kerry. You know,
I just think that the weirdest thing, I know that you don't find it that odd, but the weirdest quote that was in the paper from the journalist that interviewed him for me was, what's been found in the tank, as in like basically the remains. He was saying that they might not necessarily be Mike Gaine's, but they're Mike Gaine's property. So while they might not be Mike Gaine's, they are definitely his property. It's just so his way of reasoning. Even it's what does that mean? What does that mean? And then he was like, I haven't seen one iota of evidence that is Michael Gaine.
Well, we know now the DNA tests are carried out.
But even before the DNA tests were carried out, you had a human in a slurry pit on the farm where he went missing. Of course it was him.
I suppose now all they can really do, all we all can really, like my dad said it to me when we were talking about it last week. He was like, look, let's be fair, we're probably not going to know what happens until the court case happens.
Exactly.
But there has been no real development since then. This man is being watched in Tralee. He's got a Garda presence on him all the time, watching his movement. He isn't in the clear. They did send a file to the DDP. DPP? DTP?
District. The DPP.
DPP.
The District Prosecutor?
Yeah, anyway.
Public Prosecutor, you're right. Sorry.
Anyway. But they reckon it won't get a charge because they don't have enough evidence on him. The guards kind of got shit in that sense for arresting him too soon. But like they pointed out, it was like, if we didn't arrest him soon enough and he fucked off out of the country again, he'd be giving us grief for that too.
But the thing is, he mightn't even stand. I mean, he could be turfed out of the country before. Like, yeah, no?
I would assume, well, look, again, it's kind of like one of those things of if you're a suspect in a crime, they're probably not going to let you leave.
No, he has been issued with the notice of deportation.
But that was previous to the crime.
Yeah.
At this point, I would think that they probably have his passport taken off him and told you stay fucking put. That's why there's a guard on him all the time. No, they're watching him. So if he tries to leave, they'll arrest him for trying to leave.
Yeah.
Because you're a suspect in an active investigation. So, I mean, look, it's the craziest shit that's ever happened around here. Well, it's not really. We've had some wild shit. But it's very, very far apart.
But it just felt like, it felt like it couldn't be family. It felt like it couldn't be...
In the past, this kind of crime in Ireland has been reserved to gangland.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not involved in criminality, you don't have to worry about this kind of shit. Except if you're in Limerick and you piss off the Dunnans. In that case, you might have to worry.
Or that torso in Galway. Was it Galway?
But that's what I'm saying. It's very, very rare. Like, I mean, like the last time I heard of something this severe was probably the Scissor Sisters. in Dublin.
And even at that was
like
severely aggravated. That was a man that was beating their mother to a point. It was a terrible crime. They shouldn't have done it.
And they were all hopped up on
drugs.
Cheap booze and fucking drugs that day as well. And to be honest, no matter what you say about what was done to them, their behaviour afterwards is bizarre.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, we just got to kind of wait and see what happens here. It's shit.
They're going to be able to make a timeline. Any forensic anthropologist that goes in is going to be able to study those bones. She's going to be able to identify what was post-mortem, what was ante-mortem, what was peri-mortem. She's going to be able, he or she is probably the state pathologist going to look at it. She's going to be able to make up like a proper timeline of when all these marks in the bones were made. They're going to, I mean, we are going to find out what happened to him, but I don't know who did it. That's it, like.
But it's, I suppose, when you're looking at probability, I mean, this guy's living on the property. He's got a little bit of beef with him about leaving. I mean, he's clearly not well already. You know, if he's walking around saying, I'm being framed by the fucking mafia for this, you know, it's like, well, fuck you, man. You're not being framed by the mafia. And, you know, it's like...
But I'd be asking the question, why are they picking you as... the framing, like, why are they framing you? Where's the mafia in Kerry? I'm not saying we do. I mean, look,
innocent until proven guilty. This guy's just a suspect. He's not even thinking. And I mean, it's weird to be able to mention and name suspects to this degree. Because usually they don't. Keep their mouth shut and stay hidden. But this guy's been out and about, fucking doing his thing.
Yeah, he's that's not him, that's somebody else. But,
so I mean, look, we just kind of have to sit and be patient on this one and see what happens. You wouldn't want to start talking about a lot of the rumors and bullshit that's going on. You don't know what's true, and you still as a grieving family.
There's too many kind of salacious rumors going around at the moment, and that needs to stop, because at the end of the day, like you said, the man still has a family. The man has a grieving family, like, and it's not just, I mean, his sister, mother, or not mother, wife. I mean, you have to have a bit of respect.
Just wait and see, but it will be interesting. I mean, no matter what happens, I can see this being a mini series at some stage.
Absolutely.
I'm sure one of the streamers will get on it. But
he started joking though with the journalists that he'd give him a picture if they gave him 10.
Oh yeah, he's starting charging for pictures now. So that's Micheal Kelly.
He plays the flute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I meant to look out for him today when we were in town? And I was keeping my eye peeled.
We didn't see him though. When we stopped outside the mall, there was a guy setting up for busking, but it was a violin.
Electrical violin. Yeah. He's there every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we just kind of have to stick around and see what you were talking about with the deportation order. There's another stage to that.
Oh yeah, that is only you can't.
You know that they're going to kick you out soon.
As in, and now you can launch your appeal to have your case heard, and then it goes from there.
So I mean, look, we'll have to wait and see what's happening, and we'll definitely follow up on this as more information comes in. I don't think they have any other suspect currently. I don't know. We'll check it out.
Cops reckon that the area was hosed down and disinfected while cattle in it continued to discharge onto the slats and into the tank. So cattle were still in.
I wonder if he's willing to take a photo for a tenner. Do you think he'd do an interview for 100?
I'm not doing it.
I'll do it.
You can do it. I'm not.
Ask him what his theory on it is, and to elaborate. And tell us about the mafia stuff, and tell us about what his problem is in America and why he's here. And can he tell us where he was around the time Michael might have get some information out of him?
But clearly he'd do it, because I'm sorry, even if he's only just a suspect, you can't be that stupid enough to think that posing for pictures and giving your interview to journalists like the day after you are released from questioning is a good fucking idea. Like, who in their right mind thinks that's, do you know what's going to prove my innocence if I keep going around the town busking, and if I keep giving all these interviews and taking pictures? It's like,
I'm going to do it, man.
All right.
If I see him in town, I'm going to ask him. Just to see what he has to say. Could be our big break, Amy. I don't know. We'll see. We'll be back next week. Or maybe we won't. Maybe I'll be killed by a Marine. I don't know.
Touch wood, Josh.
All right, we're out of here. See you later.